I'm Dr. Leif Smith. Today I want to talk about the importance of having goals in your life, specific goals that pull you along in your life and keep anxiety and depression at bay. Here's the thing about goals. You have them already, whether you realize it or not. But most of the goals that we have in our life are handed to us. We inherit them. And we inherit them from society. We inherit them from our peers. We inherit them from our parents and our family and our loved ones. So we have goals. We just don't realize it. And then these goals determine our direction and the speed at which we go towards those goals. So we have goals handed to us. Go out. Go to school. Go to college. Get into a good college. Get a good degree. Go out and get a good job. Create a good career. Go get a nice house in the suburbs. Have a nice little fence and 2.5 kids and a chihuahua. These goals are common and they're set by society, set by peers, and we inherit them. We almost absorb them like osmosis. The problem with those goals is there's a lot of should in them. In other words, you should be doing this because that's what everyone else is doing. You have to do this because that's what everyone else is doing. Or you must do this. This is the way it's always been done. This is what it looks like. So we inherit those things, and that's a lot of pressure, and that is not inspiring. I don't know about you, but I don't want to do the same thing that everyone else is doing. That's why I started my own business. I never wanted to work for someone ever again. And you know what happened? I did work for someone at a certain point, and then I got laid off. And once I got laid off, I remember driving home in the car that day with 2 small kids and a wife thinking, I'm never going to be in this position again. I was working according to the shoulds, the have-tos, the musts that I had learned about. And what happened was I became expendable and I got let go from where I was working. And so when I was driving home that day, and sad and in shock, I decided that I am going to set my own course for my own life, no matter what anyone says about how crazy it is to start your own business, to do it, to go out. I went out and got my psych license after finishing up all my schooling. I got it in about 6 months total of studying and getting everything done. I did that on purpose because I was inspired at that point, but that came from losing my sense of purpose along the way. So we need to have goals and we need to have our own course. We need to set our own course. We need to have something that gets us out of bed and pulls us along. This is how you keep depression and anxiety at bay. By having goals that inspire you. By having goals that don't depress you. By having a purpose that's bigger than the rainy day that I'm experiencing right now. This is so important. If we want to keep depression and anxiety at bay and stress at bay, we need to have something that we're working towards no matter what's going on in our current life. So we want a fulfilling and an exciting destination. We need something that provides us as a beacon, as a guidepost, no matter what is going on around us. We literally need something to aim at. When we don't have something to aim at in our life, short term and long term, we are literally aimless. So we need to sit down and get clear about stuff. And I've written it down, 4 things that we need to get clear about. We need to get clear about who we are right now. Who are we right now as we're operating in this space and time? Who do we want to be eventually? So our ideal self. Who are we and our ideal self? Who do we really want to be? What is getting in the way? And what does that future self look like on an operational basis? How will your future self behave? What feelings will they feel on a constant basis? What will their behaviors look like? What will the interactions with others look like? What will the daily life look like? That's very important to get clear on the guidepost, on the beacon, so that we can avoid depression and anxiety along the way. You've probably watched other videos on goals, And it might sound redundant, but it's so important to have something to pull you out of bed, to pull you along on your darkest of times and your darkest of hours. If we don't have clarity on what we're aiming for, if we don't have clarity on the end destination, we fall back to a default point. Have you ever been there? The default point is living passively, living on a daily basis, just existing. That's Thoreau called living a life of quiet desperation, right? That is existing. So if you don't have clear, inspiring goals, you're just existing. You're living a passive life where one day rolls into the next day, which rolls into the next week, which rolls into the next month, which becomes a year and 2 years. That's how quiet desperation or depression and anxiety disorders start creeping in. We just pass the time. We engage in routine behaviors over and over again. We hang out with the same people, doing the same things, doing the same activities. We get on social media to numb ourselves, to distract ourselves from our current mediocre, boring, uninspiring life. We go to work as an escape. We stay at work too long because we don't want to go home to our boring life, to our uninspiring life, to our sad life. We watch Netflix, we binge Netflix or shows on Hulu. Why? Because we don't want to sit there and deal with the fact that we're not happy. We're miserable. We're miserable because of the lack of guidance. So it's very important to have this clarity, because if we don't, the fallback point is existing. The exciting part now is this is your call to action. I want you to sit down and write out some 1-month goals for yourself. I want you to sit down and write out some 1-year goals. You'd be surprised at how fast a year comes along. So start with a month and then work up to a year. And the final goal is I want you to set a 5-year goal. 5-year goals, I know it's way out there, but it gives us a guide point, right? It gives us something to put in the app that's going to guide us to our destination as we're driving along in life. So 1 month, 1 year, and 5-year goals. Now we're going to start with the micro, the 1 month. What behaviors do you want to start changing? Where do you want to be in a month? Where do you want to be in work, in your relationships? How do you want to be different? What do you want to add? And we're starting small with the micro, with the 1 month, and we're moving all the way up to the bird's eye view, the macro of 5 years. Here's where I want to be eventually in 5 years. Let's do that now. Write them down or they don't matter, okay? Write them down or they're not going to be clear, and get absolutely clear on these goals. This is an excellent starting point for you and for me and for everybody to ward off depression and anxiety in our life. I'm Dr. Leif Smith. Thank you for spending time with me and listening to this video today. I hope you're a subscriber. If you're not, please subscribe. And I will see you in my next video.